So when you click on the Create a Bot button, you're directed to a page with two options. To get started by building your bot, either by creating it from scratch or by creating it using a knowledge base. This may confuse you and make you wonder which to choose, or when to use one over the other. And that's what we'll look at today. I'll give you an idea on use cases for both. See you on the other side. Let's get started. But before we get to choosing what option we can use, we have to look at what makes these options different. So we'll start by looking at creating a bot from scratch. Now, because this is not a step-by-step tutorial, I already created two bots for each purpose. The bot in this example is a bot for a store that sells phones. When creating a bot from scratch, you'll be in charge of doing everything from creating intents to creating state flows and choices. Intents are like trigger words. These are what the user intends to do when they send a specific message. For example, if a user intends to greet, you'll create an intent with trigger words like hello or hi. You can then connect that to a state flow, which is basically a reaction to the trigger word. State flows get triggered when a phrase in an intent is sent. For example, once a user says any of these phrases, the greetings state flow will get triggered. And in this example, I've set the bot to reply with this message once the greetings intent is triggered. Now here is where one major difference comes in. When creating a bot from scratch, I can create buttons that act as choices, which improves the user experience for users. You can't really do this when creating from a knowledge base. Okay, you kind of can, but not the same way. I'll show you what I mean later in the video. Now let's test the bot by clicking on the chat bubble icon at the bottom right. As you can see, it has brought the state flow response I created with the buttons I created. Now, when you look at this part, you can see the next state the button is connected to. In this case, it's choices for when the user chooses an iPhone. And as you can see, it shows the iPhones I set up. So what's our takeaway from this? Creating a bot from scratch gives us control. And with it, you can easily direct and control how your users interact with your bot. Now, let's create this with a knowledge base. Achieving a similar result when creating from a knowledge base is much easier and requires less work from your side. But you have less control over the bot's responses and you will be unable to create buttons and more. For a knowledge base, users have to upload a document with knowledge and information that you want the bot to know about. For this example, I created this very short document. Then I also added some custom prompts to customize the bot a little. Let's test it. As you can see, it's responded with the custom prompt I gave it. Now let's interact with it. As you can see, the bot hasn't specified which iPhones I have in stock, despite me mentioning it in the document. But let's interact with it some more. Despite it not mentioning it in the beginning, it will still make sure to keep to the document. So what can we take away from this? Knowledge base? Bots are easier to make, but offer less control and customization. So which is better? Well, it depends. Both are great and have their use cases. For example, I'd suggest that you create your bot from scratch if your bot is for a business and you want to control and guide your users. While I'd suggest you use the knowledge base if your bot is specifically for static information. But that doesn't mean that's what the two methods are exclusively for. You have the freedom to choose whatever method you like. And that's the end of today's video. Thanks for tuning in. See you next time.